All right. I am Central Time. So it's currently 7 a.m. where I live, and this will be about the time I'm going live every day, Monday through Friday from now on. So this time until about, what is it, 7 hours from now is going to be my normal scheduled live time during the week. Occasionally I'll run over, but this is going to be about the norm. Hey, Arcader, thank you for the 19 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. So, this deck, Skred Swans. Let's cover the two bits of the name. Swans is Swans of Bryn Argoll here. If a source would deal damage to the Swans, instead prevent that damage, and that source's controller draws cards equal to the damage prevented this way. So the idea here is we play the Swans along with removal like Lightning Bolt and Skred, because not only are these good interactive cards against some decks in Modern, but this red removal, when combined with Swans, allows you to turn these into, Ancestral Bolt, and sometimes a lot more than Ancestral Bolt, depending on how many Snowlands we have in play. How the coffee is. I actually don't drink coffee. I do tea sometimes, but usually I just drink water in the morning. Water and oatmeal is my normal breakfast. Now, one thing that will be said about this deck is that this deck basically does not have a snowball's chance against Hagak. The person who had submitted it had one surgical extraction in the sideboard, and I cut that because one surgical extraction is nonsense. We're not going to have a chance against the graveyard decks with one surgical. Notably, this deck does have Anger of the Gods, but this deck can just never beat an 8/8 Trampler. So, it's not like we can just Anger and then, path Hagak, right? Like something like Jeskai can. So, I think my plan is if we play against Hagak, we're just going to concede and move along to the next match. But we probably have an okay shot against most of the other reasonable things in Modern. Probably play a reasonable game against Jund. We've got Alpine Moon, Damping Spheres, and Blood Moons in the sideboard for Tron. So, well, I think we're pretty hosed against things like Dredge and Hagak. I think this is a reasonable plan. We frequently talk about how Modern, especially when you're playing a fair deck, is a lot about picking the decks you want to beat and choosing which ones you're going to lose to and then sculpting your sideboard accordingly. And I feel like this has done a good job, especially once I cut the one random surgical extraction where we're leaning into, we've got a bunch of tools to give ourselves a decent chance against Tron, and we're just punting the graveyard matchups. Hey, Ring Tangy, thank you for the 14 months of support. Catching my first live stream in a year. Cheers for keeping YouTube updated. Well, let's get you a sword while you're in here. I'm glad you're enjoying the YouTube stuff. Thanks for keeping me around. If they cast Hagak, we'll lose that turn basically. Yeah, right? I just want to save myself time. I try to keep the decks to 90 minutes to 2 hours, so playing, even spending, 10 minutes getting slaughtered in a matchup that's hopeless, that takes valuable time away that we could be playing meaningful games. Yeah, that seems reasonable. One of the things that's really made this archetype struggle in the past, in my experience, is the fact that Lightning Bolt is not always a meaningful piece of interaction. However, in the matches where Lightning Bolt ends up being meaningful interaction, this deck tends to be pretty reasonable. As it enters the battlefield, you may reveal an elemental from your hand. If you don't, it enters tapped. Add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast elemental spells. So Flamekin Harbinger here. Okay, so tribal elementals. Risen Reef. Yep. Sweet. Let's do it. We queued for standard. Yep. The Elk coming in hot with the 12 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Blackjack, Punishing Waterfalls. Thank you for the 21. I have a bowl of instant oatmeal is generally my breakfast. Add 2 mana. Vending combination to your mana pool. Spend this only to cast elementals. Sure. I wonder what they're ramping up into. I feel like I'm not into Swans here. I feel like I'd rather dig for more removal or Snapcaster Mages. Anger of the Gods would be a good rip here. Alright, and let's kill this Risen Reef in response to this. And, like, my opponent's got some power in play, but they're down to 1 card in their hand. So they have 6 power, I'm going to 16. I have to shock down to 14 to play Narset. But I think that's worthwhile. She gives me 4 digs towards one of our 2 main deck Angers. And she might gain 4 in this combat step here. Hey, King Tower. 7 a.m. start works amazingly for me here in Australia. I get to get you live before bed. Keep up the great stuff. Thanks for the 10 months. I appreciate you keeping me around. Happy Wednesday. Yeah. Every schedule change works better for some and worse for others. Pretty smart on the opponent's part. Their deck likely doesn't draw cards. So, I guess outside of like this. Leaves play, return target creature with power 1 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Oh, that's a sweet one. Alright, so I think we're on the Fog You plan, huh? This means I can watch a deck now before going to sleep. Sweet. So they evoked this, so it dies right away, so it just gets back their Risen Reef. Tap all creatures my opponents control, draw a card. So we're kind of treading water here. Their deck's a bit of a bruise. There's no way to really know what exactly we're playing around. They could have some reach in their deck. I'm going to start by casting Opt here, because if we draw Anger, we're just going to cast that. So we get 2 more shots at Anger. Maybe I'm supposed to keep that land there, because having the guaranteed 6th land means that I can Narset plus cast Anger in the same turn, which would be nice. Voice of Resurgence is an elemental. That's fun. I don't think I realized that one. That's a sweet one. Alright, so we got 2 more shots at an Anger here because I get to cycle this Fiery Isle. If I draw an untapped land, I can play this other Narset and get 4 looks at it. It's not going to do it. Good example of a little bit of wrong half problem on our side of the board. So we had a number of interactive cards such as Narset and Force of Negation, but these cards just didn't play in a matchup like this. And this is a problem almost every interactive deck has in Modern. Even the ones that are like tiered is like you're gonna have matches where like you're hoping your stuff lines up well, and then sometimes you just draw the wrong mix and it's just not gonna work out for you. I'm going to take a bunch of these counter spells out of my deck and replace them with cards that can kill creatures. Yeah, Staticaster. Staticaster is very good here. A card's just, like, good in Modern in general. So, I don't really want any of these. These are, like, counter spells and land disruption. I guess Blood Moon's probably okay. Probably okay Blood Mooning them, huh? Yay, Green Sky, thanks for the 16 months. They're probably an Aether Vial deck if I had to venture a guess, but Blood Moon's still probably worth it even with that consideration. Would I rather cut Vendilion Clique or Narset here? Yeah, I think you're right. That Clique is the better take. Yeah, the static doesn't do anything. A lot of times she's just like drawing one card and then taking two. Clique trading in combat is fine. It's probably fine. Woo Duels is not one of the ones that gives me a kickback when people use it. So if you're not going to actually use and engage in the platform, don't take the time to check it out. But if it's something that is of interest to you, definitely give them a look. Yeah, there's the Aether Vial that we suspected they had. Yeah, there's 4 Narsets in this deck, which is a little heavy-handed. This card's, like, really good against, like, Phoenix, but there's a lot of decks in the format where she just doesn't do a whole lot. I'm not sure how I feel about... Man, here's open for an Engineered Explosives. I'm not sure how I feel about Prismatic Vista in general. So, like, while Prismatic Vista in a 2-color deck seems, like, fine, the fact that, like, we're a Cryptic Command deck is pretty relevant. Just because, like, while having, like, more kind of Scalding Tarns is nice, a lot of the time, I feel like we're gonna want access to Steam Vents, that way we can fetch red and still have plenty of blue mana. How far along are we? We are been live for about 15 minutes, starting about 7 a.m. Good morning, oldest son. You want to sit and watch for a minute? You got your cards. Narset keeps them from drawing off our Swan. Okay, that's an interesting angle for it to have. One of your finest Engineered Explosives, please. I think I'm just impulsing here, because like we have 4 shots to the 1 EE. That's unfortunate. I think I'm just like winding up again here, and just like we're gonna have to move to hand size, but I think I just want to give myself the most looks at this Engineered Explosives. Alright, I'll take Anger. Then what am I binning here? It's probably just the backup Swan, huh? I feel like Cryptic Command's more valuable than the Swan. Yep, we can play with daddy cards after school. Go upstairs and get ready for school with mom, please. I know. We're still taking some adjustments in the morning because previously, before I was starting earlier, I had been the one that always got the kids ready to go in the morning. So they're still getting used to Christy being the one to help get them ready to go. Flicker Wisp, their Risen Reef. Why did they wait? Why did they wait until I untapped to do this? They have a way to save it from a bolt? Sure. Alright, so we're hoping to draw a red source here. Yeah, but they could have done it during their end step, Erdian. Oh, wait. Oh, I'm so dumb. I wasn't paying attention to the hats. That's really annoying. Alright, we didn't draw a red source anyways. I thought they were blinking their Risen Reef. But that was just the trigger from the Risen Reef with the Flicker Wisp. It doesn't look like it matters because we're bricking off and dying. Oh, I don't know about incredibly unlucky. How many lands are in this deck? It's not that many. There's only 23 lands in this deck. And it's only playing 24. Like, the curve of this deck is pretty high for 23 lands. Like, as a comparison's sake, let's take a peekaboo at, so like the Jeskai Tempo deck we've been playing a bunch of, it also plays 4 Ops and 4 Snapcaster Mages, but it has 24 lands, and look at how much the curve goes down in this deck. There's only 2 4-drops, whereas this deck has 7 4-drops with 23 lands. So the land count in this deck, it's very easy to write off as like being unfortunate, but I think a big part of the clunkiness here is just the fact that like the curve in this deck is so high, especially in comparison to other things in Modern, and the curve is high, and we just don't have that many lands compared to it, comparatively, especially when this deck's playing like Fiery Isles. I'm excited to get Stone Rained. Whoa, that's sick. When this leaves play, it gets something back, and Thunderkin Awakener gets back this. That's awesome. And then with power. Okay, so this. Oh, wait, they're getting back Flicker Wisp? That's disgusting. So what are they targeting with that? They are Exit Flame Canary. Alright, sure. Alright, I mean, if we find a red source... If we find a red source, maybe we get to play Magic. I mean, their deck seems really good when the opponent doesn't do anything and dies 2 games in a row. Like... I mean, do you need a deck list? I mean, you probably reverse engineer it from taking 30 seconds and looking back at it. The chat box is disabled in Magic Online. And going through the effort to enable it is not worthwhile. And like, part of the problem with playing decks like this is you have plenty of games like that where I do think our deck's at least a land short, if not 2. But every deck in Magic is going to have games where it floods and dies like that. Or stumbles and dies like that. And decks like this don't get any free wins to offset those games where they stumble and die and flood and die. There's no, oh, you sit down at the table and this is my nut draw, or this is a matchup that I can't possibly lose. Like even your good matches are hard. No, with Magic Online, we are locked into our online gambling for all 5 matches. It's funny. A couple people were like, "Are you okay promoting online gambling on your stream?" And I was like, "Well, we play Magic Online almost every single day on this stream, and that's just very directly online gambling. So, yeah, we're okay letting people who want to gamble, giving them avenues to do so." All right, Infect. I think this is a matchup we have okay tools for. I think I'm just Skredding this now. Usually you want to fight on the Infect creatures on your turn, so they can save this with a mutagenic growth, but then hopefully we're not dead next turn. You don't want to kill it on their turn, because this way, now that this has happened, they don't have this +2/+2 on their turn now. Worth noting that even if I had kept Force of Negation there, I wouldn't have been able to use it to stop the mutagenic growth, because Force of Negation is only free on my turn, or on their turn. So when you play in a not league setting, the games tend to be a lot less meaningful in terms of the decks that you play against on average in my experience. And also, this isn't like Magic Arena where I have a full set of cards, Kokobo. So basically, every time I'd want to make a change to a deck, I'd have to place an order with my sponsor and wait for them to deliver cards to me. So for multiple reasons, it's not feasible to tune decks on Magic Online in between. All right, what am I doing here? I think we just have to kill that, right? This is the second match of this league. We died to 5 color elementals in the first one. 4 color elementals. Fulminator Mage is technically black. There's going to be a Teferi. Giver of Runes, yep. First day back from my honeymoon. I don't know who screwed up my office. I don't know how screwed up my office is going to be, but I noticed both websites went down yesterday morning and never came back up, so that's a good omen. Well, at least you knew it was a disaster heading in, right? I don't think I want to play around Spell Pierce here. I think I want to leave maximum things in my graveyard for Snapcaster Mage. Alright. Have you heard about my bird? You went to Canada, Beetle. Land of the free, home of the healthcare. I wish Buddy could join us at MTGO. Oh, Buddy. I was honestly just surprised at how easily that deck got its combo together. Like, I wasn't expecting that deck to combo with the frequency that it did. Check out some of our options here. Stubborn Denial is not a bad draw. Alright, so here's the real question. Am I skredding their creatures or am I drawing 3 cards? I feel like anybody who's watched this stream before knows the answer to that question, but... we didn't come here to not Skred Swans. That's true. That is incredibly true. We came here with the mission. All right, so they're just dead, right? So I'm at 5, so I can take 3 here on this and go to 8. And then I can snap bolt the Ink Moth when they go to block with it. And I have Stubborn Denial in case they have a protection spell. Well, they missed animating their Ink Moth here. They clicked through it. They'd have been dead anyways. So don't feel bad, opponent. We had you covered. So just for reference, small technical magic detail for people that are newer to the game. You need to animate creature lands during the declare attackers phase before we get to declare blockers, because the very first thing that happens in the declare blocker step is blockers are declared. So once we make it to there, once we make it into the declare blocker step, it's no longer super relevant. You're no longer able to animate new things and block with them. All right, this is again not an Narset matchup, I think. Force of Negation seems fine here though. Vendilion Clique's a very reasonable blocker. I want these engineered explosives. I want all of my removal. I wonder if I want Blood Moon in this matchup. I feel like I never want to draw 2. I think I'm going to split Alpine Moon and Blood Moon 1-1 here. Alpine Moon's a really efficient answer to Ink Moth Nexus, which is nice. They are full on 3 color though, so maybe the Blood Moons are just good. It's also possible Force of Negation is not where I want to be in my life. Actually, Cryptic Command's probably just too expensive, huh? Probably just want to drag my curve down. Chandra's like a removal spell. I tend to think about this as like an all Doomblades on deck matchup. I'm gonna leave 1 Chandra in and trim a Force of Negation. I'm pretty sure the Swans don't get minus counters from Infect. I'm pretty sure they just draw. Because it's still damage that would be dealt. It's damage in the form of minus counters though, right? Can I get a judge on that? Do the minus counters still count as damage or no? They prevent, yeah, I'm pretty sure they prevent because it's infect damage, but it's still damage and thus it's prevented. Pretty sure that's how it works. It's replacing the normal damage with infect damage. And Swans just says, I don't really care what kind of damage it is, you're not hurting my bird. You will. Thou shalt not hurt the big bird. Yeah, the artwork on this card is stellar. I agree with that one. They play a Glistener Elf or a Stepmom on one. We'll just like Vista for Mountain and Skred it. Well, Stepmom obviously isn't an infect creature. She's going to protect their infect creatures. Oh, Scissor, you were half a second too late. They did make that card a 1/2. Yikes. Have I mentioned how much worse this card is than Path to Exile on average? I feel like I should. They gave her an extra toughness. I mean, the long and short of it is, we're probably just dead regardless, because, like, having to wait till turn 2 means they have protection spells up for it, and, like, I'm not going to be able to really do anything about that. I mean, you should still have win conditions left in your deck, though, after being Unmortigoed 3 times, right? Alright, so we're clicking ourselves, getting rid of this Dispel. Before anybody asks, the reason why we're not clicking a land out of our own hand is because, well, you can't click a land out of anyone's hand. That's a draw. I'm really glad this is a no justice stream, because if we had to lose the game after doing things like casting a 1 damage Skred on a 1/2, Magic would really suck. Thankfully, this is a no justice stream. So, bye, friends. Everything worked out better than expected, chat. Everything worked out better than expected. I'm gonna leave this click back to block. Because I have a Force of Negation to fight a pump spell here. Huh? So I expect this to lead a pump spell out of their hand. Or some kind of protection spell. If it doesn't, we're in a great spot. But I assume that's what's about to happen. Wonder if we'll see both attack Chandra. I've bottomed a lot of crap, so I'm not going to fetch with this. I don't really want to shuffle that crap back into my deck. So looking for Anger of the Gods here. Sinkhole's not bad. Speaking of not bad. I guess this isn't even that good. Because, like, they have I guess it just turns off Pendelhaven. It does block. You are correct. What are we playing today? We're currently playing Skred Swans. As always, you can always see the current deck we're playing is the first deck listed in the stream title. And the subsequent decks we'll be playing after are listed after. You can also type !deck in chat to get a direct link to the deck list, or it's available via the Twitch extension, either the puzzle piece on mobile or just floating over the screen on desktop. So they have to decide, do they want to activate the Giver of Runes here, and then give me a window to kill this Glistener Elf next turn. And it's smart on their part to not activate it, because I'm just going to get to untap with the Staticaster and use it again next turn anyways. Alright, so I want to cast this while retaining priority, so I can fetch. Was that a good one? I think that was a good one. Yeah, probably wraps it up. We kill this. This kills this. They have no lands that make colors of mana they care about. Yeah, I agree, Erdian. I feel like what they've done is like making their deck slower for the sake of making it better in the interactive matchups, and like they even died to the interactive matchup there. I feel like building Infect in that way isn't like leaning into Infect strength. You should probably just be playing something else if you want to play a slower deck that's better against disruption. I guess this hand's probably a little loose on the play. Needs to draw a third land desperately. Is this better than Blue Moon? So, like, asking me if the tier 12 deck that I'm playing is better than the tier 12 deck that you want to play is kind of silly. If you're playing a deck like Blue Moon, you're obviously not concerned with pleasantries like playing good decks, so you should just follow your heart and play the Magic cards that you'd like to play. Does this feel better than Blue Moon? I have no idea. I haven't played Blue Moon recently. I don't know. This deck has Blood Moon in it, and it's blue and red, so you could probably classify it as Blue Moon. What's your definition of Blue Moon? The semantics of arguing the merits of, like, whether or not my tier 12 deck is better or worse than the other tier 12 deck is kind of silly. Yeah, if you're like not registering Hogak in Modern, you should just play whatever cards tickle your fancy. Hootie. Sultai Delve stuff? Why would you play Hootie when you have access to fish? So this is probably going to be a matchup where we're going to get to see that Skred really isn't Path to Exile. And at the end of the day, this is why Modern's a format that a lot of people enjoy, right? Like, we're playing a deck that's certainly not tier 1. We talked about how it's probably miserable against Hogak and friends, but, like, this is our third match in this league, and we're 1-1, and we haven't played against anything remotely close to the good or really powerful decks in the format. Modern's a format where people are just sleeving up the cards that they love playing, regardless of the power level. And when you play some of these low power decks against other low power decks in the format, they generate a lot of really good games of Magic. I think I'd rather do that rather than spend another burn spell. I don't know. Thank you for the gameplay content and analysis of Magic. It's helpful for my own experience when I get true, honest opinions of the game. Thanks for the 7 months, turn 3 card daddy. Hope your Wednesday is going swell wherever you're at. Thanks for keeping me around. So we haven't seen any black spells out of them yet, but there is a Hooting Mandrills that they flipped over to a Thought Scour earlier. Yeah, I agree, Pipper. In fact, it's funny when Matt and I were like a little bit more serious, playing a lot of competitive events. Matt regularly referred to Modern as competitive commander, and it's really very true. And not only are there people who like they're really invested in playing their own deck, but like it's difficult to pick up and change to the next deck. Like the amount of time you have to spend playing like a deck like Hogak for the average Magic player to like pick up and play that deck well is a lot of time. My commander was Kiki Jiki for a while, you're not wrong. And I think part of that reason is why Historic will probably pick up and take off eventually, is because I think people are really I think people are really ready for a new format that they get to screw around in. That also a new format that they get to screw around in that like just doesn't rotate, because like what happens in Modern right now where you kind of just do whatever you want, that's not a unique to the Modern card pool experience. It's just that Modern is the only non-rotating format that doesn't cost you several $1,000s to play. Here's the thing, Wildfeather. There just aren't enough people. Don't submit enough just good modern decks to go around. Sorry. And like I said, at the end of the day, even the good modern decks, like we played Hagak on stream last week, and that was a dumpster fire too. So in fact, I'm just giving you a 10-minute timeout to fuck off, because we played what's literally the best deck in the format the other day and had a terrible run in Modern with it. So like, what you're saying there shows a fundamental misunderstanding of how Magic works as a game, because just guaranteed playing the good deck doesn't mean that I'm gonna have a good set. So like, implying that it does is nonsense and not welcome in my channel, so bugger off. Magic's a game that has an incredible amount of variance. You want to watch someone always play good games? Go watch a low variance, high skill game. Chess, checkers, Go, any of the dexterity based video games. All of these card games are just incredibly high variance by comparison. And yeah, this deck's not super great, but like that match against Infect was fine. Are your older videos with Matt from Paper Days on YouTube? They are. Yep, everything's up there. I don't delete anything. Blue red deck has struggles against things with more than 3 toughness. A tail is true this time. Hagak, Splinter Twins, many things in the format change. Yet this remains the same. I was reading a speculative article that future MCs could use Brawl as a format. I think that would be great. I think Brawl as a format sounds great. Sign me up. I don't want Cryptic Commands or Force of Negations. They only pay 1 mana for their creatures, but this does not kill them because they have converted mana cost equal to the number printed in the corner. Disdainful Stroke counters their delve threats. Anger's probably not very good here. Maybe I do just want to keep a couple Force of Negations in my deck. Dispel might be fine. Let's leave 1 Force in. Too much dog. Thanks for the half-year support. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, why can't you play a highly competitive modern deck that's not Hagak? I don't know. I don't get people. There's no guaranteed outcomes in Magic. Magic is gambling. Enjoy the ride, play for fun, try and make some good decisions, but understand that ultimately the outcome is outside of your hands a lot of the time. Logic Knot gets most of their stuff. I don't really want Logic Knot and the Magmatics in my deck at the same time. I think that's too much. I think that's too much taxing on my graveyard, along with Snapcaster Mage too. The amount of effort it takes to deliver what I would consider a high-quality board game stream is high, and the consumability of that stream would still be low. So I think the effort to return ratio is not very favorable when trying to make board game into streaming content. So I get a party for my sweet 16. Thank you for the 16 months of support, Lizardio. I appreciate it. Welcome back. I'm just going to get in while the getting is good. Soft stubbing the Scour hopefully keeps him off of playing a Delve creature for a little bit, because I don't currently have an answer to a Delve creature. So I guess this technically answers the monkey in a roundabout way. By interesting, do you mean bad because we don't have any graveyard hate and we can never beat an 8/8? You'd be correct. It's fine. You just concede to the people playing Hagak and you play the rest of the matches where you have a chance. It's not a big deal. Know your strengths and weaknesses. Beat what you can and concede to the rest. I actually think the current standard format, now that like M20's developed a little bit and we really know what's going on, I think the current standard format is actually going to make a pretty reasonable basis for historic. There's a number of decks that kind of suck in it, but it's really not that different from modern, because while there's a bunch of decks that kind of suck in the format, there's also just a lot of different strategies in the format. So there's a lot of different things that players who are playing mostly casually can play and enjoy without tryharding. Sideboard the firm handshake and a fancy handshake. Counter, target activated, triggered ability. Get out of here. You tails end my Prismatic Vista. He just tried to stifle me, chat. That's rude. Alright, go, I guess. Do I play much poker? I don't. I played a lot of poker during undergrad. And playing poker optimally requires an incredible amount of waiting to a point where it's very tedious. We're 1-1, Burgle. Are we 1-1? Yeah, we're 1-1. We beat Infect, believe it or not. Yeah, I agree. I think our tools to beat Infect are fine. They're also playing 3-color Infect, and we Blood Mooned them in the second game. Just like, not bad, .jpg. You're just like peak modern, right? Like we played the card that said our opponent was no longer playing Magic and we won the game. Peak modern. There are Thought Scour breeding pool decks. There's not. Modern's a format where lots of people play whatever kind of pile that they love playing, such as what we're playing, such as what our opponent's playing. There's a lot of good games to be had between the bad decks in the format. Yeah, we did get Essence scattered in the first game. So neither the deck we're playing nor the deck our opponent are playing are what you would consider tiered decks in modern. Look at that. Our Skred deals 4. You drawn your whole deck yet thanks to Swans? We have not. We need double Spell Pierce. I think we might be getting double Spell Pierced. Well, that bodes well for our Chandra resolving later. Chobo Muffin, thanks for the sub gift team. Happy Wednesday. So now the plan is block Hootie, let damage happen, bolt Hootie. And then if they protect him from that, we can untap and Chandra Torture Defiance, shoot him. So feel like we're in a pretty okay spot at the moment. There are 10 people total playing Standard and Modern and 10 pods that Commander running. Yeah, I've heard... Now is definitely like a really low time for Standard overall, which is why I'm still doing 2 Magic Online leagues per day. Even though the current Standard format is like fine, a lot of people, myself included, are like, I'm just like ready for rotation to happen. We've just been playing with some of these cards for way too long and I'm ready for like a change of pace. Ashiok Dream Render. All right. Oh, I guess that's a mistake. I should wait till they minus this to play the bolt. Probably doesn't matter. I'm playing a 4-drop this turn anyways. I think I want to lead on Swans here, so that way I can attack the Ashiok for 4 and kill it. So it doesn't mill me too much. I'm going to say this out loud to try not to forget it. We're not going to crack the Prismatic Vista while Ashiok's in play. We're not going to crack the Prismatic Vista while Ashiok's in play. We're not going to crack the Prismatic Vista while Ashiok's in play. Dirtle Greg, thank you for the very generous tier 3 resub. Welcome to a live one. Glad you enjoyed the YouTube stuff. Be sure to drop a submission on the forum for a deck you'd like to see added to the queue. I think you should crack it. Stop it! Get the devil off my shoulder. Stop it! Stop it, chat! Stop it! I'm trying to make good decisions. For those that aren't super familiar with all these cards, the reason why we don't want to crack the Vista while the Ashiok's out is Ashiok prevents us from searching our library with our own effects, so we'd prefer not to pay 1 mana and just not do anything, or pay 1 life and not do anything. Alright, so they didn't kill my bird. So I think there's a good chance they can't. So I'm going to go ahead and cast Recall here. And then I'm going to snap Recall. Unlucky. Mana leaked my snap Recall. Tails end me, baby. Tails end me. Check out some of my options here. Minus 3 my Chandra, draw 4 cards. Thank you. Thank you. Tasty, tasty. Alright, time for a game on the draw. This matchup's probably a lot better for us post-board. In addition to these sinkholes, we've got Rose and Chandras that can deal with their big delve idiots. Yeah, got a number of things that help there. Yep, sand looks great. Force of Negation is not very good, but Bolt to answer a Delver and Roast to answer a Delve threat sounds like everything I want in an opening hand in a matchup like this. They might be playing 4 Spell Pierces, which I guess that makes sense. They're probably not playing Stubborn Denial if they're playing Delver. Yes, your snow-covered lands are still snow-covered. Blood Moon doesn't impact base 6. Yeah, they have like Tails and an Ashiok to go after our fetch lands too. In fact, speaking of, I'm gonna go ahead and fetch a basic island right now. I guess I should do that with Vista, huh? Because this could technically fetch a Steam Vents if I needed it. So if they crack this Flooded Strand, I'm going to fetch this with this Vista in response to play around Tail's End. So Tail's End costs 2. There's not an actual factual stifle in this format, thankfully. Bank Tosu, thank you for Bank Atsu. Thank you for the 12 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Hope you're having a good one wherever you are. I'm just bolting this now. Probably getting pierced or something. Nope, no pierce. That's good for us. I might, not quite sure what I want to do with this click. There could be merit to just like clicking this Force of Negation out of her hand. Though it could also be smart to just like clear Mana Leak or Spell Pierce out of their hand potentially. Clickety clack, don't come back. Yeah, I think we're clearing their hand out. A few that I like there from Gen Con. I think Point Salad and Catalyst were new releases this year. Warhammer TCG released last year, and I think the New York Slice game is 2 years old at this point. But they're also both good games. Roasted. I guess if I would have Skred this, I could have, like, forced, Dispel or something. They have Stubborn Denial in their deck. Spell Snare. Okay, that makes sense. Bye, Felicia. I think we might actually do a little bit of the Warhammer TCG on stream again at some point this week. Am I supposed to Force of Negation that? It might have been right to force that, honestly. That's not the Magmatic Insight I wanted for Christmas. I don't know, if I deal with a couple of tokens, we can just, like, kill the other ones inside of combat, right? And Narset prevents them from chaining a bunch of cantrips together, which is nice. Whatever the Magmatic one is, you know what card I'm talking about. The Magmatic card we're playing. I think we're just taking the bolt here and then double bolting this. And then, like, I have this locking out their cantrips, and I have a stroke for their next creature threat, and I have a Force of Negation for another non-creature threat. So, like, we're not, like, in a position to start winning the game, but I feel like we're pretty far ahead at this moment. Scry 1 resolves. Yeah, Sinkhole kills Saheeli. That's one we were talking about earlier that I wanted to draw. I think I'm supposed to pass here. If I draw one more land, I can play this bird around a mana leak. Like, I'm not under any pressure. If I, like, play the Swans and they, like, untap and play a creature that I could have Disdainful Stroked, I feel pretty sad. Man, Recall ain't got nothing on our Skred, huh? Yeah, you can always, if you're always interested in finding something to submit, you can submit it using the form on my website. I'll usually send you an email back within a day. Oh, that was the best draw in my deck. I don't know if this deck is good, chat, but it's definitely great. It's the little things in life, chat. Like I said, there are a lot of great games of Magic in Modern to be had in bad deck versus bad deck, because none of the good decks have a 1-mana draw 7. None of the good Modern decks have a 1-mana draw. It's the simple pleasures in life that you have to enjoy. Yeah, Narset basically means that my Swans just can't take damage, and my opponent gets no upside, which is sweet. I like that they're still clipping along here. They're like, I will survive. Hey, hey. No, because I have Narset. Narset says if they attack, they don't draw anything. My mana has been leaked. It's kind of disappointing in a way. I could draw 8 cards here, but it's just like not correct to do so because they're dead. I'm gonna do it anyways. Inject the cards directly into my veins. Give him that fat stubby D. You know, if you win, you have to stop drawing cards. I know, it's a travesty, really. Alright, sweet, look at that. We're 2-1. If we can get on the board for one more here. Get that sweet 3-1. Slow and steady. Sure. This deck had Laboratory Maniac as win condition. We could draw cards for much longer. You're not wrong. Maybe I'm supposed to play the fetch land here so I can soft stub on one. They played a Snow Cover Mountain. Are we going to play a Skred mirror match? Yikes. Not a Skred mirror match. Looks like the opponent is playing Valakut Titan. Meister Clickington coming in hot for the 4th month. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Stevo Bandito. Alright, so Chandra is not accomplishing a whole lot here. So I think I am playing Click and clicking myself here. Force isn't a terrible draw. Land. Puppy. And like we have a relatively quick clock here, right? Like they're gonna be barreling down on us, but we are playing Swans. I was just attacking first. If we're lucky and they don't have this game's probably gonna highlight like one of the reasons why this card's just like not forcible in this format. I think I'm actually forcing this. I think I'm supposed to just cut them off their ramp spells. Those were good hits. That's what we like to refer to in the biz as doing it, I think. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer. Take my hand. We'll make it, I swear. Oh, do 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 do, be do 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 do. Yeah, I should have Skredded this one. 10 out of 10 should have Skredded this one to have the bolt for lethal. I'd like the record to reflect that my route is more fun though. You know, I'm gonna wait and see what they do here. We could opt into Bolt or Snapcaster Mage here. Yeah, I didn't really sequence my removal spells or my draw spells backwards because the Bolt could have killed them last turn. I don't want to be super aggressive with the opt because they just like cast Scape Shift this turn. I want to be able to Force of Negation the Scape Shift. I guess I could do that anyways though because it's free. Nice, Paperscape. We got a number of tools that are okay here. So Alpine Moon, Blood Moon, Logic Knot, Force of Negation. All of these cards play. Anger, Chandra, Sinkhole are pretty bad. Disdainful Stroke's good here too. I think I want to keep the Narsets because she digs for hate cards and she makes it so they don't they're less likely to draw cards off my Swans. What do I want to cut? Is it crazy to cut a Skred? All Skred really does is draw with Swan, right? So I probably don't want a lot of those. I guess I could theoretically kill a Titan, but that's pretty unlikely. Hey, Otrose, thanks for the 9 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. I think I like this. No, they're not playing Field of the Dead. Modern Scape Shift plays the card Valakut the Molten Pinnacle. It's much better than Field of the Dead. Do I want 3 Force of Negation to this matchup? I feel like I might not. Is this Skred better? Because they're going to have things like... They could have things like Tireless Tracker post board. I kind of feel like 3 Force is probably too many in this matchup. Yeah, so the way Valakut the Molten Pinnacle works is it cares how many mountains you have in play. So if you scape shift when you have 7 lands, with the way the scape shift deck works in Modern, if you scape shift while you have 7 lands in play, you deal 18 damage with Valakut, and if you scape shift while you have 8 lands in play, you deal 36 damage with 2 Valakuts. I think this hand's a mulligan. It doesn't have any pressure in it. It's got like a Cryptic Command, which is fine, but like Bolt and Skred aren't super good here, especially when I don't have a Swans in sight. I don't think Opt is good enough. It does have all my colors though. I don't know, I feel like I should play Catch and Release looking for Blood Moon or Alpine Moon on 7. I'm gonna keep this one actually. Unlike the other one, so like this has a little bit of disruption. It's got a couple of threats in it, and it's gonna opt to dig for some lands, so. Thanks for the 10 months, Wildfeather. My point, Wildfeather, in my message, and I was too harsh in the way I delivered it, almost certainly, but I was annoyed. Is that playing only good decks in Modern, in Magic in general, doesn't guarantee that we're gonna have good games of Magic or have an experience that's not a total dumpster fire. That's my point, which I think it's a point that enough people don't put enough thought into. If we can be fortunate enough to find a 3rd land here, Snapcaster Mage can snap opt us into a 4th, ideally. And then this hand's pretty reasonable overall if we can hit that. Some people like dumpster fires, but they aren't good for the viewing numbers. That's actually not true. Stock decks get get way more views, or stock decks get way fewer views on average than anything else. Like, for example, the Naya Feather deck got half as many views yesterday as Blue-White Skies and Blue-White Forge did. Primeval Titan and Valakut were legal at the same time. So I think I need to draw step Clique here, because I can't currently beat a Primeval Titan, right? The key is threading the needle between decks that are off the beaten path and decks that can actually win games of Magic or not. I mean, I guess I don't take the Explorer here, because the Explorer lets them get towards natural Valakutting sooner, but it doesn't, it means if I click them and they draw Titan, I think I just say no here. Do I force this Explorer? Is that crazy? I think I'm supposed to force this Explorer. Am I pitching Snap or Swans? I think I'm pitching Swans, because I need to find a Blood Moon or an Alpine Moon, and Snap Opt helps me do that. What's going on, White Pumpkins? Thanks for keeping me around. So they are still... This isn't trigger until they have 6. They have 3, 4 right now, basically. This is 5, 6. So in 2 turns, these Valakuts are going to start popping off. That's a pretty good one. Although it makes me wish I would have pitched the Cryptic Command or the Snapcaster Mage and kept the Swans. So, I would like to give you an actually moment, because you said these are basic mountains. These are actually non-basic mountains, just for reference. Well, Cryptic does not currently protect my Blood Moon, because I don't have triple blue. Is the thing. Second Bolt's actually a fine pickup here, because it means I can kill a Primeval Titan if they draw it. Let's just name Valakut the Molten Pinnacle here. All right, sure. Sure, they are playing Field of the Dead. Sweet memes are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody memeing for something. Do. Alpine Moon only impacts your opponent's lands. Alpine Moon only impacts your opponent's lands. Alpine Moon only impacts your opponent's lands. That's pretty successful overall. We went 3-1 with the one loss being to 4-color elementals. The loss that we had, we basically just didn't play Magic. I think this deck needs one more land in it at a minimum. I think it's probably a Narset, a Force of Negation, or a Chandra. Or a Chandra that gets cut. Probably cut the 4th Narset, discard multiples a little bit clunky at some points, but with the curve as high as this deck has, I think not playing at least 24 lands is probably a mistake, but, you know, it's fine. No, just like with Standard, I'm playing decks for a minimum of 2 matches with a certain time allotments, so if I play 5 matches in a league with some of these decks that tend to play longer matches, it's going to push all of my schedule out of